Today, we're digging deep into Fender's current offering of deluxe reverb amps.
Let's get amped up.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Our shop is called Lauzon Music. We're in Ottawa, Canada. We're a Fender showcase dealer. Today, we're going to dig into their current offering of Fender Deluxe Reverb.
This has got to be one of the most iconic amps Fender's ever made. It's an amp that you see everywhere. It's an amp that's easy to dial in, and it's just probably the most popular and common amp out there.
Yeah, I would say this is probably on a lot of backlines everywhere you go. You kind of know what you're going to get with a Deluxe Reverb, but they do have several different models they're currently making, and they're all, pretty substantially different. So we're going to dig into that today and look at each one. Up first is Fender's regular production line, 1965 Reissue Deluxe Reverb.
It was introduced in 1993, and it's made in the US too. So it's kind of the classic Deluxe Reverb you see everywhere, a very common backline amp, most popular amp, I would argue.
Yeah. So this is 22 watts with 6V6 output tubes and the 5AR4 rectifier tube.
Yeah, which is the standard formula for most Deluxe Reverbs.
Yes.
I know this one has the C12K speaker. It's an Italian-made speaker. It was also designed in the 90s in conjunction with this amp. It's tighter, it's kind of smooth top end. Deluxe Reverb's not known to be a heavy mid amp. You don't get a lot of mid, so it's not a super punchy mid-range on this amp. It's a bit more scooped. That's true probably of all the Deluxe Reverbs.
Right.
Yeah. The circuit on this one's an AB763, and the reason they call it that, it's the 7th month of 1963.
It makes sense. It's like that, their 1056 neck carve,
That's
October
right.
of 56. So it's very simple. Makes sense.
Yeah, they make it easy for us.
Yeah.
So that's a circuit you'll see throughout this video. It's the most popular blackface circuit, and it's what they use in this amp.
So I guess they're tweaking it all along the way, and then when they went back to reissue it, this is the one they settled on as kind of like
1963. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the origin of this circuit. So that's
Gotcha.
really what it's a reissue of.
Cool. So this has got the 4 inputs, 2 on the normal channel, 2 in the vibrato channel, and the vibrato channel has the tremolo and the reverb on it, but the normal channel doesn't have either of those on this particular amp. And you get, I guess, a little more gain because it's not going through that part of the circuit through the normal channel. But if you want the reverb and the trem, you got to plug in to the second channel.
Yeah. It's a really cool amp, and again, probably the most popular one we'll be looking at today.
Yeah, so we're going to play all of these as well. We're going to do clean and a little bit of dirt from each amp and compare and contrast towards the end of the video. Okay, next up is the 68 Deluxe Reverb. This is their reissue of a Silverface amp. Again, it's 22 watts, 6V6 output tubes, reverb, tremolo, but it's a little different. This custom channel over here has the Bassman tone circuit in it, which is more gain, basically.
Yeah, and it's kind of more punchy mids, more low end.
Yeah.
I know this amp was introduced in 2013, and it's made in Mexico, so not like the 65. This one's actually made in Mexico. Has the same plywood cabinet, and they designed a special speaker for this. So it's the V-type speaker. It's another 12-inch speaker like all the Deluxes have. 70 watts, made in China.
Okay. So a little different tone overall. I guess one of the nice things about this is you get the reverb and trem on both channels. So that custom channel for that custom sound and the vintage channel for that vintage sound both have the reverb and trem.
Yeah, it's kind of a quality of life upgrade. And this amp's really, I would say, loosely based on a 68 Deluxe. So 68 was the first year that Fender only made Silverface amps. So this is kind of like a tweaked 68 Deluxe.
Right. And it's kind of just for a different flavor. Like some people want that a little more gain, a little more maybe modern sounding. Just it's another option in their tone arsenal that they're offering.
Yeah, another really popular backline amp.
Yeah. Next up, we're going to take a look at the 64 custom hand-wired Deluxe Reverb amp. So hand-wired means there's no printed circuit boards in the amp. This is made the way old amps were made. So it's individual components, point-to-point wiring. and just better quality components, often some handmade capacitors, that type of thing. More so like the originals would have had.
Yeah, and this amp was introduced in 2017. It is another USA-made amp, based on that same AB763 circuit that the 65 Deluxe is, but this is more vintage correct in every way. So it's got the C12Q speaker, which is a 35-watt speaker, a Jensen-made speaker, more true to the original speakers that would have come in these amps. And it's got a solid pine cabinet, so not a plywood cabinet. It ends up being lighter, and obviously solid wood versus plywood. It's a more resonant material, so.
Yeah, it's a great sounding amp. This one is my favorite, I think. And it's got two channels, normal channel and the bright channel. Bright channel is a little more sparkly. You can actually use the reverb and trem on both channels, so that's nice as well. You don't have to pick one or the other. You got it on both.
Yeah, it's a really clear, really dynamic amp, and my favorite too.
Yeah. Next up, something different in the whole lineup. This is Fender's Digital Deluxe Reverb, the Tone Master Deluxe.
Yeah, this was introduced in 2019. It was really introduced as a lightweight option to the standard Deluxe Reverb. It has a special speaker that was designed just for this amp.
Yeah, it's a neodymium magnet, and those are a lot lighter. Like, they've been used in bass amps for many years now, and I guess we're starting to see them in some guitar amps. Just a super lightweight magnet, which helps when you're, for carrying this thing. It's very easy, very light to move around. You're going up and down stairs. You're not going to suffer with this. There's no transformer. There's no tubes. It's a neodymium speaker. It's lightweight.
And it's a solid pine cab too. So similar to the 64 hand-wired custom Deluxe, it's actually a solid pine cabinet, which is lighter.
Right.
And definitely cuts down on the weight for the amp.
Yeah. And another nice thing about this, you can cut out the speaker completely. You can play this amp with headphones or through an XLR out with a cab sim, so you don't torture the people that you live with.
Yeah. And it will go down to 0.2 watts. So it goes from 22 to 0.2 watts, and there's quite a bit of variation between. So if you want to push this amp at a low volume, you can get that push deluxe sound, a decent amount of headroom. But it's really a practical recording tool and something easy to bring out to the blues jam.
Yeah, this is definitely easy to cart around. It's also, so it's got the normal channel, vibrato channel, the trem and reverb. Like the 65, they only work on the vibrato channel.
And I know there's also a blonde version of this amp available, and it has the bright cap removed on the vibrato channel. So
the virtual bright cap. Hey, thanks for checking this video out.
We had a lot of fun doing it.
Subscribe to our channel, check out our other videos, and we got lots more coming.